Hey, hello once again, fellow flight simmers and cockpit builders. Jose again here with another one of my back to basic updated videos. This time we're going to be talking about DM13A so that we can connect 16 LEDs using only one pin on the Arduino. And actually we can connect up to 64 because you can daisy chain up to 4 DM13As. And on this video, I'm going to be doing exactly what I did on the one for the LEDs, which is I'm going to just basically redo the parts that use the configurator so that you can see how the website looks now. But I'm not going to redo everything else that still has the same images in it. It's just a little bit reorganized, but it still pretty much looks the same. But before we get started, I'd just like to remind you guys again real quick that I am not affiliated with SimVimX or Real Sim Control, and I do not represent them. Alright, so if you look here on my workbench, you'll notice that I have quite a few things already laid out up here. Um, so this is the DM13A. This is the way that I bought them. It's the big package, so when you connect them, we're going to go over all the connections and everything real quick, but I just had everything set up already for testing, so I wanted to kind of show you guys how it's going to look at the end of it. But I'm going to go over all the wiring steps and everything so you guys can fully understand it. But just remember, the DM13A itself can be powered from the 5 volts coming out of the Arduino, but the LEDs, they have to be powered by a separate power supply, and it could be any voltage, like from around 5 volts to maybe 15 or 12 or 15 volts or whatever. That's just going to change the resistors that you have to use, limit the current going to the LEDs. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this out of here, and then I'm going to start going over the website, what it talks about the DM13A, and then we're going to start connecting it. Okay, once again, we go over to the output section. So last time we talked about direct connection of the LEDs, but that's obviously the two disadvantages of that obviously are that you can only connect a certain number of LEDs because you don't want to draw too much power from the Arduino itself, and also every LED that you connect, you're going to take up one pin. So one of the good things about this is that you can use up to 16 LEDs with one pin on the Arduino. And then the other advantage that I really like is that you don't need to use the resistor with each one. As you can see right here on this drawing that I'm looking at, it's just directly connected to the DM13A, and there's no resistors between each LED, which I think is really nice too. One of the most important things, like I mentioned before, and it mentions it right here on the website too, that the driver, the DM13A, can be powered from the 5 volt output on the master board or the Arduino. But for the LEDs, you need to have another power source, and that's why I'm using that external power brick that I showed you guys at the beginning. And it says here that it can be from 5 to 15 volts depending on the type of LEDs that you use, and we already saw how that goes. So I'm going to go ahead and start going over basically the wiring part of it, because it does look a little bit complicated, but I'll show you guys why it's not too bad. Okay, if we look at this diagram that they have on the website here, you can see that it looks complicated, right? So you have on pin number 1 over here, the pins on chips, they always start with this little notch facing up, and this is always pin number 1, and then it goes down like this. So this is pin number 12 right here, and then it continues on the bottom over here, 13, and it goes up to the top right, which is pin number 24. So the thing is that on pin number 1, you can see that it goes to ground, but it also has a resistor that kind of joins up with the one that goes to the control pin on the Arduino coming out of pin number 3. Alright, and then pin number 2 goes to the D data line, and pin number 4 goes to the L data line. So that's the left hand side, and then from pin number 5 on, it's going to be the LEDs. Now when we get over to the other side over here, I believe, so pin number 24 on the upper right, that's the power. That can go directly to the Arduino, like I said. And then there's a resistor over here going to ground. This is the one that controls the brightness of your LEDs. So it depends on what type of LEDs you have, how bright they are, what voltage of the power supply you're using. So that's going to determine what resistor you use right here. I'm using on this side over here, because it doesn't really talk about this, I'm using a 1 kilo ohm resistor right here on the left, and I'm using a 2.2 kilo ohm resistor on the right. So as you can see, it says it could be from 1 ohm, I guess is 1 ohm or 1 kilo ohm, to 22 kilo ohms. But I've used I've used 220 ohm resistors with LEDs that were very dim, and I've used up to 3.5 or 3.7 kilo ohms with LEDs that were very bright. So it's you just gotta test it with yours and figure out what you want to use there. Alright, so that one goes to ground, and then pin number 22 is going to go to another DM13A if you want to daisy chain them. I'm not going to talk about that on this video, because I don't want to make it more complicated than it's already going to be, and I don't want to make it too long either. So I'll just talk about daisy chaining them in a separate video. And then pin number 21 is going to go to this one that says ENA, is going to go to ground. So if you notice, there's 3 grounds, but there's no reason to have 3 separate lines going to ground. If you remember, on most of the videos I mentioned that there's a lot of lines that you can join. You can make them common, like all the grounds are going to be common, all the 5 volts, they're going to be common. All the ones going to the D line or the L line are going to be common. So you don't have to take 3 individual grounds. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of do what it does on this picture that they have here. So it's really difficult to see it right here, but if you notice, it has a little wire going here. I think this is from pin number 20 right here, or 21, I'm sorry. And that one is coming over all the way across, and then it joins up with this one that comes over to the other side where the number 1 pin is going to go to ground. And then the resistor right here is coming from pin number 21 or 20. I'm all confused now, but you know what it is. This one right here comes over and also joins with the ground that's coming to the other ground. So that's what I'm going to do on this one. So I'm going to leave that picture right there as we're working through this. And basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you. So the resistor that's going to come from pin number 23 right here to pin number 21, which is this other black one that I have down here, that's going to be this 2.2 kilo ohm resistor that I have right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that right there. Okay, so that's the resistor that you're seeing there on the upper right of that image. Okay, and then the ground, this ground right here, I'm going to bring it around and join together with the ground over here coming out of pin 1, which is the one that's going to go to the main ground over here on the Arduino. So all I'm going to do is basically put a jumper wire from here to over here. Okay, so that's that one right there. Now there's another resistor on the left. If you notice, there's a resistor that has to go from pin number 1 that's going to go to ground, and it's going to join up with pin number 3, which is going to the pin on the Arduino. So this resistor here that I have over here, this is the 1 kilo ohm. So it's going to go from number 3 right here to the one that's going to go to ground. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it across like that. I hope you guys can see it. I'm going to show it to you closer on the other little thing that I have over here, but I hope you understand what I'm doing right there. Okay, so now that we have all those good, now we can go ahead and just connect the main one that's going to go to ground. So we can just go ahead and do this one, and that one's going to go to the ground, the common ground that goes to the Arduino. I guess now we can go ahead and connect our power. So our power is going to go over here from pin number 24, which is the red one over here, is the last pin up here on the top left. I'm sorry, the top right. So we can go ahead and put this one here and connect it to the common 5 volts coming from the Arduino there. Okay, so now we got most of those connections now. So the ENA is going to go to this pin number 1 over here, which is going to go to ground. Number 3 over here, which is the one that goes to the Arduino, has a I always forget if it's a pull-up resistor or a pull-down resistor, but it's going to that pin that's going to go to ground. And then pin number 23 over here, which is supposed to have this resistor here, this is the one that regulates the brightness of the LEDs, is going to go to this ground that eventually ends up going to the Arduino common ground. Alright, so now we can do the other three here. So I put this little 90-degree angle ones here just so that it can be a little bit better to see this. But basically what we're gonna do is connect the blue one here, and this one's gonna go to the D line. If you look on the picture, the blue one is going to the D line, which is pin number 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that one up here on the D line. Okay, and then we have the one that looks kind of gold or brown orange. I'm gonna use an orange one for that one. That's on pin number 3, and that one's gonna go to the pin on the Arduino. So that one I'm going to do on pin number 53 over here on the Arduino. So I'm gonna take it up here and connect it right there on 53. Okay, and finally the purple one, which is on pin number 4, that goes to the L line. So I'm going to connect that there and then bring it around this way, and the L line is my brown one up here on my distribution hub right there. I think you can barely see it right there, but that's my L line that you can see right there. Alright, so that's it. That's all the wiring right there. Now the only other thing we need to do is we connect the power adapter, which I have over here. So this power adapter, once I decide to connect it after I connect all the LEDs, so the power connector basically is going to go, these are the wire, this is the wire coming out of the power adapter. So the negative is going to go to the common ground of the whole system, which eventually ends up going to the Arduino here. And then the positive, I'm going to just put it on this little proto board right here, so that I can just tap off of it. And the reason I have this one right here, this red wire coming across, is because I'm going to connect the LEDs on this side, and I'm going to connect the LEDs on this side. So I'm just going to, you know, basically grab from those two right there. So that's it. That's all the wiring. Everything else from here on is just the LEDs. Alright, so on the LEDs, this is going to be the difference between the way we did it the other day and the way you have to do it for the DM13A. So with this one, all the anodes are going to go to the positive. So you can join them all together because they're all going to get the 5 volts from the same place. And the cathodes, which are the negatives, those are the ones that are going to go to the pins over here on the DM13A. So, and then eventually, you know, the power, the 5 volts are going to join up with a little proto board right here to get the 5 volts from the power supply. So I'm going to go ahead and connect those right here. 1, 3, and 5. Alright. And just remember that in computer and logic and everything starts with 0. So the first pin that would take an LED is 0, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 15, which normally, you know, is 16 LEDs, but it's 0 through 15, not 1 through 16. Okay, so then I go ahead and I connect my power right here to the rail to get it from here. And then on the other side, I actually have these green ones right here, which are I think these are the pretty bright ones. So same thing, I'm gonna go ahead and connect them over here, and I will put them on I'll put them on 8, 11, and 15. Alright, so they're connected there, and just connect them here to the 5 volt rail. Alright, so now we're going to go over to the configurator so that we can start assigning these functions to our LEDs. So first thing we need to do is we need to go over to the config tool, and we're going to start a brand new configuration file. So first things first, we need to assign a DM13A because, you know, that's what we're going to be working with here. So we need to go to LED driver here, and then we're going to select what pin we are going to assign it to. I'm going to assign it to pin number 53, I think I had said. So we're going to put it there, and it asks you if you want to connect a new LED driver on pin 53. Just put OK, and it is now assigned. So now you're seeing the pins that are available on that LED driver. And like I mentioned before, they're daisy chainable, so you actually see a bunch of other ones for the second one, and then more for the third. And if you wanted to connect 4 of them, you can just click on here, and then you see the 16 pins that are available on the fourth one. Okay, so another thing that I had added after I recorded that original video was the ability to add DM13As and other type of LED drivers to output multiplexers, because before in the beginning we were not able to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick in case you wanted to use it on an output multiplexer instead of connected directly to the Arduino. Okay, so in order to do that, what we have to do is we have to actually first put a 7-segment display so that we can add an output multiplexer. And then when you click on pin here, then you go to the bottom over here and you put add output multiplexer, and then you just click on the pin that you want to assign it to. So let's just say we wanted to assign it here at an A0, and then so there we have it assigned. Okay, now we're going to add the DM13A to that output multiplexer. So we go back again to LED driver, and then we can click on pin, and we click on the one where we put the output multiplexer, and now you see the 16 pins that are available on that output multiplexer. So now let's just say you wanted to put it on 0, so you would just click on that, and it'll ask you if you want to connect a new LED driver to the multiplexer output on pin 0, and you just put OK, and now you have it assigned. So another thing I had not explained before on this new configurator and website is that what you see over here is the pin on the Arduino, on the Mega, and what you see over here is the pin on the multiplexer. Okay, so now we're going to start assigning our LEDs. So we're going to go to our aircraft, and we're going to go to the Boeing 737, which is the one I always use. All right, so we're going to assign the 3 red LEDs to the fire pedestal here. We're going to assign them to these 3 right here. So first thing we need to do, like I said before, right now you see how it shows red, so it shows that we cannot assign anything because we don't have any type of pins open. So we need to basically put an LED driver, and we're going to choose the LED driver that's on pin 53, and then we're going to basically click on one. Now they turn yellow because now that we have an LED driver open, now we can assign LEDs. So we're going to put the one for the left engine, we're going to put on pin number 1, and then we're going to put the APU one on pin number 3, and then engine on the right we're going to put on pin number 5. Okay, so that's it for those. On the green LEDs, we're going to connect something on the MCP panel. So we're going to go ahead and put on pin number 8, we're going to put the localizer here. So we can put that on pin number 8, and then we're going to put on 11, we're going to put the altitude LED, right here. So that'll be on 11, and then on pin number 15 we're going to put the heading LED right here. So we're going to put that on 15. Okay, now that we have all that in there, we can go ahead and save our configuration file, and of course it's going to give us that warning, so we'll put leave. And we're going to put it, like always, in our Explain Resources Plugins SimVimX folder, and we're going to call it Data Only, which is what it should be called if you're not using a custom configuration file. So we'll go ahead and put save, and then we'll go test our stuff. Alright, now that I got the camera there, I'm going to go ahead and reload the configuration real quick. And then we can start playing around with this. So if you remember, I did the red ones for the fire test. So we can go ahead and come over here to the radio panel area here, and I'm gonna just do the fire test right here, and those 3 red LEDs should come on, and there they go. So they're good. And then the other one I did on the MCP panel, so heading select, and there it is, and VOR, there's another one, and altitude. So there's the third one. And remember what I told you about the brightness? These are extremely bright because I'm only using the 2.2 kilo ohm resistor that I put here on the DM13A. So what I've done is in order to mitigate that, I have a resistor down here. I think you can see it. So this is a 1.5 kilo ohm resistor. So what I'm going to do, instead of tapping off the 5 volts directly from the power supply, I'm going to go through this other resistor. So I'll just have to basically go over to this side, and that makes a huge difference in the brightness. You see that? So that's another thing you can do. You know, you can just add another resistor to the tip of the power line, or you can put it like right here. You can just put the resistor right here between the LEDs and where you're going to get the 5 volts, and you see that makes a tremendous difference. Because if I was to do the fire test right here right now, you see now even the red ones kind of look brighter, but I think they're almost about the same. But if I was to put it the way it was before, yeah, so now you see when I do the fire test, the red ones are still the same brightness, but the green ones are way too bright. So that's what I did. I just added another resistor over here, and that's it. Alright, so now that we see that working, I don't think we have to go through any more, because just like I assigned those functions right now, you know, you can assign anything. I'm sure you guys know by now. If you've seen enough of my videos, you can see that the process is the same. But what I wanted to show you guys also, okay, so I wanted to show you guys this other one here that I have, because I wanted you to see how it actually looks if you were to solder everything into the DM13A, and then of course out of the rest of these pins you would just have your cathode leads, you know, going to the LEDs or coming from the LEDs. Okay, so if we look at the pictures here, you got pin number 1 over here on the upper left, and you got, it goes to ground, and it has a resistor that joins up with a wire coming out of pin number 3 that goes to the Arduino, which in my case is an orange one. So if we look at the one I soldered here, you can see that I have soldered onto pin number 1. It's coming out and it's going to ground, and then it also has a resistor that I'm joining up to pin number 3, which is the orange one that's going to the Arduino right here. Okay, and then pin number 2, we got the blue one which goes to the D line. So I just have it here on pin number 2 is the blue wire. It just goes directly to the D line on my bus distribution board. And then pin number 4 is the L line, which is a purple one or so. So I got pin number 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4 is going with a purple one that's going to go to the L line. Now this is where I told you the other 2 lines that go to ground, you have a resistor. Well, before I get into that one, we just have the red wire that's going to go to the 5 volts coming out of the Arduino. Remember, that's not the one going to the LED. That's just for the chip power. So that's pin number 24 over here. This has the red one going directly to the power. And then on pin number 23, we have the resistor that's going to go to ground. So we have pin number 23 going through a resistor, and I join it up with this wire that's coming out of pin number 21, and that just goes to ground. So pin number 21 goes to ground. It comes over to join with this one that goes directly to ground, and that's it. So you know, we got all the wiring done. This one right here that doesn't have anything in it between the resistor, that would be the one that goes the D out. So if you were daisy chaining, this one would go to the next DM13A. But like I said, I'm going to talk about that in a future video. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day for this one, and I think that I pretty much explained everything about as clear as I can make it. You know, once you see this, and I think you'll realize that it's not as hard as it seems. I was kind of scared of it myself when I just looked at them, because it did look like there was a lot going on when you just look at the diagram, you know, for the wiring. But if you just take it one step at a time, I believe I got it to work the first time, you know, when I just started playing around with them. So don't be scared of it. It's not that bad. On the following video, I'm going to talk about daisy chaining DM13As. So you can use 2 or 3 or 4 of them together to get 64 LEDs if you wanted to. So I'll see you on the next one. Take care.